The air inside the Flagstaff courthouse feels sharper than the cold outside. Like everyone walked into a room where the truth has been waiting for years. You can almost hear the weight of it, pressing down on the long wooden benches, sinking into the walls, seeping into every breath. This isn't just another hearing. This isn't even a family dispute. This is the moment the Brown family finally reaches the breaking point they've been avoiding for decades. I narrate as Meri enters first, walking down the aisle with a stillness that doesn't match the storm she's carrying inside. The click of her heels echoes, crisp and controlled, but her eyes, those give everything away. They're not angry, not tearful, just determined. The kind of look a woman wears when she's finally decided she won't carry someone else's lies anymore. She grips a folder against her chest, her fingers tight, her knuckles pale. Inside that folder is the envelope, the one she said will finally expose the truth. The one Kody spent 25 years pretending didn't exist. On the other side of the room, Kody and Robyn sit shoulder to shoulder like they're preparing for battle. Kody's jaw shifts side to side, the way it does when he's about to explode but knows he can't. Not here. Not in front of a judge. Robyn leans in, whispering urgently, her eyes darting between Meri and the judge, like she's trapped between panic and hope. Christine and Janelle sit behind them, not united with anyone, just present, watching, trying to steel themselves for whatever comes next. They know Meri hasn't come here lightly. They also know Kody better than he thinks they do. And the way he keeps tapping his knee, the way he keeps swallowing hard, those aren't confidence signals. Those are fear signals. The judge enters, the room rises, and Meri doesn't look up. Kody doesn't blink. The judge takes a seat. Court is now in session. We will begin with testimony. The moment she speaks, Meri stands. I'll testify first, she says, her voice steady as stone. Kody jerks upright. Robyn grabs his arm before he can shout. Meri walks to the witness stand with slow, intentional steps, as if she's been waiting for this moment longer than anyone in the room can understand. She swears in, sits down, breathes out. Her attorney comes forward. Miss Brown, why did you decide to bring this case today? Meri's eyes soften, but her expression hardens. Because, she says quietly, silence has protected the wrong people for too long. A murmur ripples through the courtroom, and this is the first moment you feel the shift in power, in truth, in every illusion the Brown family ever sold to the world. Her lawyer nods, allowing her to continue at her own pace. It started the night Kody told me I wasn't enough, Meri says. At the time, I thought it was about our marriage, about distance, communication. But no, it was about hiding something. Something he and Robyn buried deep. Robyn's lips part in a mixture of shock and offense. That's not fair, she whispers. But Meri isn't looking at her. She's staring somewhere far past the judge, far back into her own memories. He told me, she continues, that the family needed protection, that certain choices were for the greater good. But it turns out they were for himself. Kody slams his hand on the table and stands up. This is ridiculous. You don't even... The judge doesn't blink. Mr. Brown, sit down or you will be removed. Robyn tugs his sleeve hard, forcing him back into his chair. Meri digs into the folder and pulls out the white envelope. The one with 3 letters written in permanent marker. D-N. The soft whoosh of intakes of breath fills the room like wind across desert sand. Janelle's hand covers her mouth. Christine leans forward, eyes wide. Even the judge seems upset. Meri sets the envelope gently on the wooden stand. These results, she says, will show that the story Kody told us for years was not the truth. That the choices he made, the favoritism, the distancing, the loyalty shift, weren't based on emotion. They were based on a lie. Her attorney moves closer. Meri, what do these results concern? Meri's voice drops. A child he claimed as his own. A child he used as the reason for breaking our structure. For choosing Robyn over everyone else. For abandoning 3 decades of family. Robyn gasps like she's been stabbed. That is not true. You don't understand. But Meri finally looks at her. No, Robyn, you don't understand. You and Kody created this lie. We only lived in it. The bailiff steps forward slowly, waiting for permission to retrieve the envelope. Kody shoots up again, unable to hold back. You can't do this. This is private family matters. The judge bangs his gavel. Mr. Brown, final warning. He sinks back, chest heaving, eyes wide with panic he can't hide any longer. Meri picks up the envelope before the bailiff can reach it. Her fingers slide across the seal, as if she's afraid of what's inside, but more afraid of what happens if she stays silent. She looks at the judge. This won't harm anyone. Except lies. The room is so silent that the tearing of the paper sounds like thunder. Every breath holds still. Every heart waits. Meri pulls out the first page. Christine whispers, "Please, just tell us." Robyn clutches the table, her fingers so tight they quiver. Kody's pupils constrict with fear. Meri starts reading. These results confirm that the child in question. Suddenly, Robyn leaps to her feet. Voice cracking. Meri, stop! You don't know what you're doing. But Meri doesn't budge. I know exactly what I'm doing. Her eyes shift, cold and resolved. These results confirm that the child Kody claimed as his biological child never was. Gasps explode across the courtroom. Kody's face drains completely. Robyn covers her mouth in horror. Christine mutters, "Oh my God." Janelle clutches her armrest. The judge leans forward. Meri, explain. But before Meri can utter another word, the courtroom doors burst open behind them. Every head snaps around, and standing there, breathless, shaking, eyes filled with something between dread and determination, is the one person who knows the truth better than anyone. The person whose existence could destroy or save Kody and Robyn in a single sentence. The child from the DNA test. The doors hit the back wall with a hollow thud that rings through the courtroom like a warning. Every head turns. Every breath stalls. And for a moment, just a moment, the entire Brown family freezes, as if time itself slipped and shattered. Standing in the doorway is a young adult, maybe early 20s, trembling, face pale, eyes glossy with a truth they've carried far too long. Their hands shake at their sides, and you can see the hesitation in their steps, like they've been pulled here by the weight of secrets rather than by choice. Robyn covers her mouth as her shock is instant, raw, unfiltered. In less than a second, Kody's face twists from confusion to dread. Christine and Janelle stare, stunned, not sure whether they're witnessing a confession or the beginning of something far worse. The judge adjusts her glasses. Identify yourself. This is a closed hearing. The young adult comes forward slowly, his voice trembling. I'm the one in the DNA test. The courtroom erupts unanimously. Gasps, whispers, shuffling. It's as if the air in the room suddenly changed temperature. Kody's eyes widen with a panic he cannot hide anymore. Robyn whispers, No, please, not like this. Meri lowers the page in her hand, the hurt in her eyes softening. Because even after everything, she knows the weight of what this moment means for that young person. The judge calls for order. Come forward. This young adult walks, every step heavy, as if dragging years behind them, until they reach the witness stand. They do not look up at Kody, or Robyn, or even Meri. They stare into the empty space between them, a place where their truth has dwelled far too long. The judge leans forward. Would you like to testify? A shaky, fragile breath escapes them. Yes. Robyn abruptly stands up. No! They don't understand the consequences. They are being manipulated. The judge raises her hand sharply. Mrs. Brown, sit down. Robyn slides into her chair, crying, her fingers shaking uncontrollably. Kody whispers something in her ear, too soft for anyone to hear, but his face is tight, nervous, cornered. The young adult is sitting in the witness stand, pressing their hands together, seemingly trying to hold themselves steady. Meri's attorney comes forward. State your relationship to the Brown family, if any. The young adult swallowed hard. They raised me, but Kody always claimed I was his biological child. Robyn holds onto the table so tightly, her knuckles are white. And is that true? The attorney asks softly. The eyes of the young adult fill with fear and sadness. No. Meri closes her eyes. Christine lets out a shaky breath. Janelle nods softly, as though pieces of a puzzle she doesn't want to solve are falling into place. The lawyer proceeds with caution. When did you learn about this? The young adult looks at Kody and Robyn for the first time. A few years ago, I found some documents, messages, conversations that I was not supposed to see. Kody shifts in his chair, eyes narrowing. You misunderstood. But the young adult cuts him off, voice cracking. No, I didn't misunderstand. You lied to everyone, including me. Their voice shakes with the kind of pain that doesn't come from anger, but rather from loss. I asked you directly, they continue, staring at Kody. I begged you to tell me the truth. And you said, their voice breaks. You said it didn't matter because the truth would destroy everything. Robyn whimpers softly. Kody, please. The young adult wipes his eyes. So I took a test myself. I needed to know. And when I confronted them, they told me never to mention it. Not to the other wives. Not to my siblings. Not to anyone. The judge's face sours. Is this why Ms. Brown brought the DNA results today? Meri nods slowly. I only found out because they trusted me with the truth I never expected to hear. She regards the young adult with empathy, not anger. When they came to me, they weren't trying to hurt anybody. They needed someone who wouldn't use their pain to hide behind. Robyn bursts into tears and shakes her head. You don't understand. We were trying to protect them. We were trying to keep the family together. Everything was falling apart and her words dissolve into sobs. Kody wraps an arm around her, not for comfort, but out of desperation, as if holding her will stop the truth from slipping any further. The judge turns to the young adult. What is the impact of this lie on you? Their voice softens, shaking under the weight of years. I grew up thinking I belonged somewhere, thinking I had a place. But when I found out the truth and realized no one else knew, it felt like I wasn't part of the family at all, like I was just leverage. Meri clenches her jaw, battling back her own tears. Christine looks devastated. Janelle covers her face with her hand. The young adult continues. I loved Kody. I believed in him. I wanted to be part of everything. But when he told me to keep quiet, he made me choose between the truth and my own identity. Their voice breaks. And I was a child. The room falls silent. Even the lights seem dimmer. Even the judge looks startled. The lawyer steps forward again. Why did you decide to come today? The young adult takes a long, painful breath. Because I'm tired. Because I never wanted my existence to be a lie. And because Meri wasn't the only one betrayed by the truth, they betrayed me too. Their eyes fall on Robyn. And you knew. Every day, you knew. Robyn sobs harder, shaking her head. I didn't want to hurt you. I fought. The young adult says quietly, you thought hiding it would fix everything, but it ended up only ruining everything. The judge turns to Kody. Mr. Brown, would you like to reply? Kody lets out a sharp exhale, his voice taut. I did what I had to do to protect my family. These kids, this family, was falling apart long before this. I made a decision, a hard one, but I made it with love. Meri lets out a bitter laugh. You call decades of deception love? Christine shakes her head. You used that child to justify every choice you made. Janelle adds softly, and you let all of us believe something that was never true. Kody snaps. You think you all would have stayed if you knew? You think the family wouldn't have collapsed even sooner? His voice is barely above that of a whisper. You didn't protect us. You hid us. A heavy silence ensues. The judge folds her hands. This court needs to understand one thing clearly. Why was the truth hidden? The young adult looks down. Because my real father was someone Kody never wanted the public to know about. Meri freezes. Christine gasps. Oh no, Janelle says softly. Robyn's entire body goes rigid. The judge raises an eyebrow. And who is your biological father? The young adult looks up, tears streaming, and his breath shaking. They open their mouth, but their words catch in their throat. Kody slams his hand onto the table. That's enough! Robyn screams. Stop! The judge bangs the gavel repeatedly. Order! Order in the court! The young adult, voice breaking, says, my biological father is... And before they can finish, a voice from the back of the court says, that would be me. Everyone turns. Standing in the doorway is a man no one expected to see. A man whose identity will turn the entire Brown story on its head. Session 3 felt different right from its start. Heavier, colder, and almost as though everyone had sensed that whatever happened in the last hour had shifted the case from a simple testimony dispute into a full-scale emotional earthquake. Even the jurors, quietly patient up to this point, leaned forward a little more, waiting to see which bomb would drop next. Judge Reynolds adjusted her glasses. "Meri Brown, you may take your seat. We will now proceed with the next witness." But before Meri could even sit fully, Kody shot up from his chair, palms flat against the table. "Your Honor, may I just say something before anything else?" he barked, louder than was called for. The judge's eyebrow arched. "Mr. Brown, unless this is a procedural matter." "It is," Kody snapped. "It's about the envelope she brought. That envelope should not be admitted as evidence without verification." Meri clenched her jaw. She didn't look at him, but her voice cut like a blade. "You're stalling again. Afraid of what's inside?" Robyn reached over to tug Kody's sleeve. "Kody, please, not like this." But he brushed her hand away without looking at her. The judge held up her palm. "I have already stated the envelope will be reviewed at the appropriate time. Now sit down, both of you." Kody sat down, but not silently. He muttered something under his breath. Something about betrayal, setup, and rewriting history. The mic didn't catch everything, but the sentiment was clear. Meri finally sat, focusing her attention on the next witness to approach the stand. And that's when the murmurs started, because it wasn't anyone expected. Not a detective, attorney not present, not a family friend. It was Aurora, Robyn's daughter. The audience gasped. Even members of the Brown family present shifted uncomfortably. Bringing in children, now adults but still part of a fragile dynamic, was something nobody expected this early. Robyn's eyes widened in panic. "Aurora? Sweetie, what are you doing? You don't have to do this. You don't." But Aurora didn't even look at her mother. She kept walking, her posture stiff, eyes swollen like she'd cried the entire night before. Judge Reynolds spoke softly. "Miss Brown, please raise your hand to be sworn in." Meri stared at Aurora with an expression that no one could understand. It was a mix of hope, guilt, and protective instinct. She had known this girl since she was little, had seen her crying and laughing, breaking down and growing up. And here she was now, possibly about to reveal something no one could predict. Aurora took her oath, her voice trembling. "I swear to tell the truth, all of it." No sooner had she sat than Robyn whispered again. "Aurora, look at me. You don't have to do this." "They pressured you, didn't they? Someone pressured you." Aurora closed her eyes for a long second before responding softly. "Mom, nobody forced me to. I'm here because I'm tired of secrets." Kody fidgeted in his seat. "What secrets? What is this?" His voice softened, not kind, but cautious. Aurora swallowed hard. "I'm here because the fights, the ones everyone thinks were only between the wives, weren't only about the relationships. There were things said, things that affected all of us, especially me." The courtroom tensed. Meri leaned forward slightly, not to intimidate, but concerned. "Aurora, if it's all too much, the court can." Aurora shook her head. "No, I must say it before I lose the courage." The judge nodded. "Proceed when ready." Aurora took a slow, painful breath. "The night this all started, I was in the hallway. I heard Mom and Kody fighting. Loudly. Period." Aurora paled instantly. It was about Meri, about the DNA, about who was really responsible for things that happened years ago. And I know I wasn't supposed to hear it. Kody's eyes widen. Aurora, stop. You are confusing things. You misheard. Aurora's voice cracked. No, I didn't. You said, she pointed at Kody, hand trembling, that if the truth ever came out, it would ruin everything. That Meri wasn't supposed to find out. That the paperwork was supposed to disappear. There were gasps throughout the room. Kody slammed his hand on the table. That's not what I said. Robyn was shaking her head rapidly as tears already welled up. Aurora, sweetie, you misunderstood. Please. Aurora's tears fell freely now. No, Mom, I remember every word. I've been carrying it for years, and I just can't anymore. Judge Reynolds raised her gavel. Order. Order. The room quieted, but still crackled with tension. Meri's face went white. Paperwork. What paperwork? She whispered. Aurora turned toward her. The paperwork about the adoption, about what was promised, about what was signed, and what wasn't. Robyn buried her face in her hands. Kody stood again, his hand pointing at Aurora. You're confused. You're dredging up old arguments. Aurora cut him off, her voice suddenly fierce. I am not confused. I heard everything. And you told Mom that if Meri ever figured out what really happened, she'd do exactly what she's doing now. She'd bring it to court. A silence as heavy as it was suffocating fell. Even the judge leaned back, astonished. Meri wasn't breathing, at least it looked that way. Her hands were shaking in her lap. She whispered, They hid something from me? Aurora nodded, breaking again. Yes, something big. Robyn spoke finally, her voice soaked with tears. I didn't want you to know like this. I never wanted. But her words faded as the judge leaned forward. Miss Brown, do you have any documents, recordings, or physical evidence to support what you heard? Aurora hesitated, then reached into her purse. Robyn gasped. No, Aurora, please. Aurora pulled out a small USB drive. I recorded it. Not on purpose. I had my phone recording because I was working on something, and it never stopped. When they started yelling, it caught everything. Meri covered her mouth. Kody's face completely drained of color. Robyn sobbed silently. The judge huffed loudly. This changes the direction of the hearing. Aurora placed the USB on the evidence tray, hands trembling. The judge turned to the courtroom staff. We will recess for 20 minutes to review this recording before deciding how to proceed. Bang. Gavel down. Session 3 closes. But the storm was just beginning. If you wish, the courtroom emptied into murmurs as the judge called for recess, but the Brown family didn't move. They sat in stunned, frozen silence, almost afraid that standing up would make everything more real. Meri remained glued to her chair, staring at the table like it held answers to every lie she'd been fed. Her skin had gone pale, her hands were shaking, and the envelope, her envelope, sat beside her, untouched. For the first time in years, she wasn't angry, heartbroken. Aurora sat silently in the witness stand, still quivering, as if she wasn't sure whether she had just saved someone or destroyed everything. Robyn approached her slowly, her voice hardly above a whisper. Aurora, sweetie, why didn't you ever tell me that you had that recording? Aurora didn't look up. Mom, I was scared. Scared you'd tell me to delete it. Scared you'd say it never happened. Tears came heavy and fast down Robyn's face. I would never. She paused, realizing that maybe she couldn't finish that sentence honestly. Or at least, not persuasively. Kody stood at a distance, pacing the ground like an animal trapped in a cage. He had his jaw locked, his fists tight, and kept running his hand through his hair, muttering, "This is bad. This is really bad." One of the courtroom bailiffs approached him. "Sir, you should sit. The judge will return shortly." "Do not tell me to sit," Kody snapped. The bailiff merely raised an eyebrow. Meri finally looked up from the table. Her voice was weak, but steady. "Kody." He froze. When he turned, his expression softened, not out of guilt, but out of fear. Meri's eyes were glossy, but not from sadness, from clarity. "I asked you." "For years," she said. "I asked you every time I felt something was wrong. I asked you every time Robyn got priority over everyone. I asked you why things didn't make sense, and you told me I was imagining things." Kody swallowed hard. "Meri, don't start. You lied to me." Her voice didn't rise, but it pierced deeper than a scream. "For years, you lied to me. And now, your own daughter is the one telling the truth, not you." Kody's hand slammed down upon the bench. "You don't know what's on that recording." Meri looked at him in a manner he had never seen from her before. "I know enough." Aurora wiped her eyes. "Mom didn't know what to do, Meri. I didn't either. I thought if I kept it quiet, maybe things would get better." Meri let out a soft, broken laugh. "They never get better when lies are involved. Only worse." 20 minutes turned into almost 40, and when Judge Reynolds finally entered the courtroom again, everyone knew something huge was going to go down. The judge's face was neutral, but her eyes were sharper, more alert. She had clearly listened to the recording. The bailiff called the room to order. Judge Reynolds sat down, straightened the papers before her, and began to speak in a voice laden with gravitas. "Well," she began slowly, "the recording is substantial." A ripple of tension swept through the courtroom. Kody straightened in his chair, attempting to hide the panic rising up. Robyn clutched her tissue tightly. Aurora folded her hands, bracing herself. Meri Merriment waited. Not hopeful, just ready. The judge continued. "The recording contains contentions that strongly indicate there is withheld information concerning a major legal decision in the Brown household. Statements uttered during this argument contradict several testimonies already given here in this courtroom." Kody's face twitched. Robyn's lips parted in shock. Meri gazed at the judge as though receiving confirmation of what she had suspected for years. Judge Reynolds folded her hands. "We have enough indication that a material misrepresentation may have occurred. Therefore, this court is ordering a full review of the documents mentioned in the recording, including any missing adoption paperwork, custody agreements, and family contracts previously referenced." Kody froze. The color drained from his face. Robyn made a soft, pained gasp. Meri's hand flew to her mouth. She had always suspected something was buried, but hearing the judge say it aloud gave her both validation and terror. Kody shot up. "Your Honor, you can't just—" The judge cut him off sharply. "Mr. Brown, sit down." Now, he sat. The judge continued. This is not about apportioning guilt yet. This is about uncovering truth. And this recording suggests truth has been obscured. Every camera in the courtroom seemed to click at once. The media had their headline. The judge then turned to Meri. Mrs. Brown, the envelope you brought today, if it is to contain documents relating to the same matter, may become highly relevant to this review. Robyn wicked her head toward Meri. What's in that envelope? Suspicion burned in Kody's eyes. Meri, what are you playing at? Meri didn't answer them. She answered the judge. Your Honor, what's in there should be seen, but not yet. She took a steady breath. There's something everybody needs to understand first. Judge Reynolds nodded. Very well. If you so wish, file it afterwards. The court will be ready to receive it. The judge turned toward the witness stand. Aurora Brown. Aurora sat up straight. You did a hard thing today. Whatever the results may be, the court recognizes your honesty. Aurora blinked tears away. Thank you, Your Honor. The judge continued. You may step down, but be advised the court may call you again. Aurora nodded and stepped down. Her mother reached out to her as she passed by Robyn. Aurora, please look at me, please. But Aurora kept walking. Robyn broke down in silent sobs. The judge picked up a new file and flipped it open. We shall now call our next witness. Kody looked confused. Next witness? Who else is even on the list? The judge cleared her throat. The court calls Leon Brown. Meri's breath caught in her throat. Robyn's hand shot to her mouth again. Kody's eyes widened in shock and unease. Leon's quiet and confident stride into the courtroom, his face masking controlled pain, sent waves of cold anticipation through the room. Leon was Meri and Kody's child. Meri whispered under her breath, Leon, what are you doing here? Leon didn't look at either parent, didn't look at Robyn, didn't look at Aurora. Leon looked directly at the judge and nodded. I'm prepared to testify. The courtroom erupted. Meri clutched the edge of her seat. Kody looked like the ground had just been pulled from under him. Robyn stared, seemingly incredulous that things could have gone this drastically wrong. Judge Reynolds banged her gavel. Order, or I will clear the room. Silence fell like a stone. Leon walked towards the witness stand. Every step seemed to carry the weight of years of silence and suppressed truth. Aurora watched from the benches, her breath held. Meri felt her own heartbeat shaking her entire body. And Kody? Kody looked terrified. Not angry, not defensive. Terrified, because Leon wasn't just a witness. Leon had lived through the decisions, the lies, the favoritism, the broken promises, and possibly, the truth behind that missing paperwork. If Aurora reached the surface, Leon was going to open the entire vault. And that's where Session 4 ends. Leon takes the stand, and the air in the courtroom feels heavier. Not tense like before. Heavier. Like everyone suddenly realizes they're about to hear the kind of truth no one can walk away from unchanged. Meri looks frozen, as if almost afraid to breathe. Kody sits forward, elbows on his knees, his palms clasped so tightly his knuckles turn white. Robyn is completely still, with dry tears on her cheeks and shallow breathing. And Aurora? She watches with wide, frightened eyes, as if she knows exactly what's coming next and fears it. Judge Reynolds leans slightly forward. State your full name for the record. Leon raises their chin. Leon Brown. The words echo. Strong. Steady. No hesitation. The judge nods. You may begin. Leon breathes in, resting their shaking hands against the wooden rails. I didn't come here to take sides, Leon says. I came here to stop the lies. Kody stiffens instantly. Meri, you let them do this? He mutters, under his breath. Meri doesn't even turn his way. Leon continues. Growing up in that house, we were taught loyalty. That family meant everything. That dad always acted for the good of all wives, all children, all of us. Their eyes flick towards Kody. Just a second, but it hits like a blow. But somewhere along the way, Leon goes on in a hushed voice. The truth got replaced with whatever made Dad look good. A few journalists gasp. Robyn presses a hand to her chest. Kody rises halfway out of his seat. Leon, this is not. Judge Reynolds bangs her gavel. Mr. Brown, sit down. You'll get your turn. Kody sinks back, rage boiling beneath the surface. Leon turns back to the judge. I am here because I know what that recording Aurora brought in refers to, and I know why some documents were never submitted. Meri closes her eyes. She looks like she's preparing to hear a truth she spent years begging for. Dad didn't just hide paperwork. Leon's voice shakes, not from fear, but from the weight of years. He changed it. Robyn makes a strangled noise. What? That is not. Leon, don't say things you don't understand. Leon's head snaps toward her. Oh, I understand more than you think, Robyn. The courtroom leans forward as one. Leon continues, their voice steadying. There was a day, about a week before the adoption was finalized. I came home early. Dad and Robyn were in the kitchen, whispering, arguing. Something about needing to redo a form, because the judge mightn't approve everything based on what Mom, Meri, had signed. Meri's face drops. Kody closes his eyes, as though preparing for an impact. Leon swallows. Dad didn't know that I was listening. I heard him say, "We'll fix it. She doesn't need to know." Meri holds onto the table so tightly that her fingertips turn red. Robyn whispers, "Leon, please stop." Leon regards her coldly. I'm not stopping. Robyn is silent. Leon turns back to the judge. Dad changed a signature, or a date, or something, maybe both. I don't know exactly what, but I know he altered a legal document without Mom's knowledge. Meri's mouth opens slightly, her eyes welling up. Just like someone confirmed betrayal she'd never quite been able to prove. The courtroom erupts into whispers. The judge raises a hand, silencing them. Leon's hands tremble again as they continue. That's why Aurora's recording matters. That's why the envelope matters. That's why all of this is happening. They take a deep breath. Because Dad thought the ends would justify the means. Because he felt what he wanted was more important than the truth. And because no one stopped him, Kody stands. Not violently, not screaming. He stands like a man whose foundation has just cracked. "Leon," he says quietly, his voice thick with anger and grief. "You don't know the pressure I was under. You don't know what it was like trying to hold this family together." Leon's eyes flash. "I know exactly what it was like, because we were the ones holding it together, not you." Meri's hand flies to her mouth. Robyn wipes away new tears. The judge raises an eyebrow. Mr. Brown, you may formally respond if you'd like. For now, the witness still has the stand. Kody sits down, but the anger was bubbling, and one could tell. Leon takes another breath. My mom spent years feeling like she wasn't enough. She blamed herself, thought she was the problem. Meanwhile, Dad and Robyn built a life behind closed doors and acted like the rest of us should be grateful to be included when they felt generous. Robyn winces. Leon's face hardens. And when Mom asked questions, when any of us asked questions, Dad called it disrespect, or jealousy, or disloyalty. Meri wipes her eyes. Not from sadness. From years of emotional weightlifting, finally. Leon's voice softens. I didn't come here to destroy anyone. I came here so Mom wouldn't feel crazy anymore. The courtroom falls silent. Meri breaks. Tears flow down her cheeks. She hides her face behind her hands. Kody stares at Leon with something between shock and wounded pride. Maybe even guilt, but buried too deep to show. The judge clears her throat. Leon, do you have any evidence of what you overheard? Leon nods slowly. I have a memory. A very clear one. And I know that's not enough. They look at Meri. But Mom does. That envelope has what Dad didn't want anyone to see. Kody's head snaps toward Meri. His voice sharpens into fear. Meri, what did you bring? For the first time all day, Meri meets his eyes with full strength. Something I should have shown years ago. A visible shiver ripples through the courtroom. The judge speaks carefully. Mrs. Brown, the court will soon need that envelope. Meri nods, still keeping her hand over it protectively. Not yet, she whispers. There's one more thing everyone needs to hear first. Judge Reynolds turns back to Leon. You may step down. Leon nods and steps down from the stand with quiet dignity. But before they sit next to Meri, they hesitate, turn toward Kody, and say, softly but firmly, you taught us to be honest. I'm doing what you taught. Kody looks away. Robyn reaches for his hand, but he doesn't take it. Judge Reynolds clears her throat and opens a new file. This court calls its next witness. The room holds its breath. A name hangs in the air like a match about to be struck. Someone who wasn't expected. Someone whose testimony could end everything. Christine Brown. The courtroom explodes. Christine enters in the doorway and is calm, composed, with a folder of her own. Meri gasps. Robyn almost faints. Kody's eyes widen in absolute dread. Christine steps forward. Her voice is steady. I am here to talk about what I saw.